Live from the Workplace Ninja Summit in Lucerne. Highlights, insights, and simply interesting talks. This is the Workplace Ninja Podcast.
And we're back with a new recording on the Workplace Ninja Summit in Lucerne. Back with new people on the table. Peter, as a co-host, back again. And we have three people from the Intune team, especially on macOS, iOS, and Android. And I think it's really interesting to talk about that topic. So welcome, Marc.
Hello, thank you.
And we have Anya.
Hi, everyone.
And we have Jessica.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So thanks for joining. So let's talk a bit about what you give already a session on this afternoon, and there will be more to come. So.
Absolutely. So today we spoke specifically on the macOS and how to be able to use macOS in the enterprise. And Wednesday we will spoke about iOS and macOS, but specifically from the security point of view, how you secure your device, because it's important in enterprises.
Yeah, and Jessica, especially you're on the Android part of Intune. What's the reason that you joined the iOS people on the presentations?
I think when we talk about mobility, we want to offer us Intune. We want to meet people where they are with the platforms that they're using, and so in addition to iOS and Mac, Android is kind of a growing part of our SD as well.
Yeah, and Android is one of the Android and iOS are both the biggest players in the world around mobility. So I can guess that is one of the biggest reasons that you are joining you. So luckily we have you. macOS and the efficiency. That was the presentation today, Marc.
People seems to be extremely happy, ask a lot of questions. We didn't reach the end of our presentation. I have to skip before the QR code some videos on the new remote help we released. But yeah, I think it was a really great session, honestly.
And what was the biggest takeaway of the session, Anya?
People loved when we spoke about local account management, Acme and managed device attestation support, platform SSO. We showed a demo. People loved that. We have new stuff coming like skip keys within Setup Assistant for ADE next week. So lots of good stuff. People were excited.
Yeah, and what kind of within macOS, before the recording, you have it on 0-day support?
Absolutely. So today it's Monday, and in a couple of hours, Apple will release the new version of iOS, both for iOS and macOS. And in Microsoft, we really believe it's important to test the beta and see how it is. So we had 0 days, so we released a blog, but all the settings are already available since 24.08 version of Intune. So all the admin was able to already test and see how it is and be able to let the user upgrade without any risk. And this is really important for us.
Yeah, and that's really a game changer for at least for Intune, right? It's already so many years to deliver 0-day support for all the new platforms and making sure that customers can also safely upgrade their iOS device to, I don't know, what is it, 17?
Yeah.
18 nowadays, or 18, yeah?
18 today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll add that on Android we're kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like since, I think our engineering team has been doing testing since the beginning of the year, like second or third month of the year already. So the new Android version is coming out probably in maybe next month or so as well. And we should be ready to support that.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah.
I was able to present on stage how we're doing the importation directly from Apple's site. So it's not a manual. We create the settings and we need to create a UI. No, we're doing automatic importation based on the partnership we have with Apple. So it's automatically creating the UI, and it just needs engineering validation after to publish the settings. This is why it's becoming really easy, and we think it's fully future-proof.
Yeah.
And regarding the other session, security management with macOS and iOS, is that some? Why is it so important to secure my mobile? Because when my mobile, only thing I do, I use, for example, I use mobile application management, so it's containerized. I have all my business stuff in Outlook, in Teams, and that kind of thing. So why should I secure the other things as well with MDM? Is there any direction?
Yeah, well, it's critical to secure the hardware of the device with something like managed device attestation for iOS and iPadOS to ensure that you can't spoof the device and that the characteristics of the device are exactly what they say they are with a feature like that. Because even if the user is secure, you still have the hardware parts of it. So we're going to be talking about that.
Yeah, and also with Platform SSO, we can now completely use the Secure Enclave on macOS. So Secure Enclave is like a TPM for Windows, and we can store data there, so they are extremely resistant compared to just storing on the keychain, and after you can have a phishing or somebody can unencrypt it using this. When it's on the chip, it's on the chip. There is nothing you can do, so your device is well secure.
Extra levels of security.
Yeah. Nice. Any other things from you on mobile, for example?
Yeah, I'm basically a huge fan of mobile application management, allowing bring your own devices to be managed, or the apps to be managed. Is there anything going on in that space?
No,
I think it's really feature ready.
Yeah, it's feature ready now. It's working for 4 years. We have did a lot of improvement on macOS application management this year to be able to deploy any type of package to the device. Using a script before that will do the check you want for 1 hour, looking and script after. But for MAM, there is nothing really that is. It's secure.
And on Android there are some investments made in the last couple of years, like integrating with the Google Protect options.
Protect and like the safety attestation. Yeah. I was going to say it's a pity this podcast is going now because the MAM session is at the same time, but hopefully people will be able to check that out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we did planning wise, we did a wrong thing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think mobile application management and on mobile is one of the important pieces to manage. I already said that, but it's one of the important pieces to manage your company data on even Android and iOS. Is there any differences between? There are a lot of differences between Android and iOS, but that's more like the underlying system where we have to deal with. Is it easy? Maybe it's not easy to manage that from an Intune perspective, but I think is it full feature proof that we can deliver customers at the moment with Android and iOS? What do you think? I think we can help them to secure data, and that's the most important thing.
I think from a customer perspective or consultant perspective, I'm already using this for years with customers and financial customers, so it is really secure, and customers that are really relegated by agencies, they say okay, or the CISO says I can ask them to enroll their device, but then it's a bring your own device. Why should I manage all those different devices? Instead, I want to keep it simple, just manage the data, and that saves also a lot of shadow IT, people forwarding emails, etc., etc. So it's really safe, and you're able to fully control your data. So if you lose your phone or somebody leaves the company, your account will be disabled, data will be automatically wiped, or.
Yeah, and it's not needed to have an MDM device.
No, and it's less intrusive for the device. If it's a bring your own device, people have their own photos, and not always back up to the iCloud or Google Cloud. And only the corporate data is being removed. And
no, and I think going to your question about iOS, Android, something I said just now as well is just I think as Intune we want to meet the customer where they are at, with what types of devices they have, the scenarios that they have, and so we have on iOS and iPadOS there's the information worker scenarios, and then also maybe Anya can speak more to this, but various enrollment options for Frontline or shared devices as well. And then on Android, you kind of, there's a lot of complexity there, but we have all the Android enterprise options, and then also support for Android open source project enrollments. But I think the overarching goal there is that no matter what type of device, like you're on an iPad or you're on a VR headset, right? Those two extremes, you can manage that with Intune, and I think that's what we're trying to offer.
Yeah, all the variety of devices can be managed in one central.
Yeah. We love saying that.
Yeah, that's one.
we really say we are managing 4+1 platform, so Windows, iOS, and iPadOS, of course, Android, macOS. This is the 4 main platform. Every month there is update, there is new option and new capability, and there is Linux with a little bit more specific, but we're also managing Linux.
Yeah, and also huge partnerships like Samsung partnership just announced last week. So that's also good to see that also on that side with hardware vendors. The partnerships are really close in the development also. So.
And I think it's necessary if you look into AVD, for example. We have, what was it, LG, Samsung, what has the phone to make it possible to have an AVD running on your phone. But if you have an AVD and not managing their phone, so if you also can manage that phone, especially from the vendors that we have contracted with and we work together, then you can manage the full ecosystem, including AVD with Intune, Windows 365 with Intune, but also the mobile phones on that. And I think that's good.
Yeah, and speaking about partnership, we have a very good partnership with Apple. It's important to say it. That was possible for us last year to release the DDM support. So this is what is replacing the MDM. And the feedback for all the customers who are using DDM to update their device is very good. It's almost 100% of update. That means the fleet is fully up to date now. Everyone who are using this, so they just push a profile. And DDM is working so good that with a new version of OS, iOS and macOS, it's only supporting DDM now. So the user will have to use it. Okay. And it's great when they are in Intune because it's natively supported and working very well.
I have written down a question mark. What drives you into macOS management? Because you was first into some other areas as well, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I'm not a young baby, so I have few gray hairs. So yes, I started with a lot of Active Directory back in the day, and after I did some Citrix management.
Yeah.
And Citrix reached macOS because you want to use Citrix on macOS. And I guess it's almost 10 years now that I'm only using macOS devices to work. So I have been a Mac admin before, and since I joined Microsoft, I can really speak with a Mac admin on how they think and what they want and how the integration in enterprise is.
Yeah. So you're an end user, and with that, that makes it easy to give the other team members feedback on what to do, on what's next. And
exactly.
So, yeah.
And how did you see the Mac OS operating system evolve? Because to me, it's still a consumerish operating system that is placed in the enterprise.
It's really, really changed. So back in the day, so 15 years ago, in enterprise, you can only think about a TS session, a Citrix session, to be able to consume the enterprise.
Yeah.
But you don't want to pay the double of a thing. You want to really use your Mac, and Apple really realized this, and they start to invest in enterprise with IBM, with all the DEP process. So they saw this from the iOS side first, and after reaching macOS. Last year's, so with DDM, with platform SSO, this is real enterprise feature. It's only for enterprise.
Definitely. Yeah.
Now we can really see macOS in enterprise. So a lot of enterprise, what they are doing is they are migrating to Intune from all the other MDM they have because they want only one solution of management. They want to increase the number of macOS, and so release the easy task from the admin and let them to use macOS instead, and really focus on the design and let the user choose the program. It's stupid, but there is people that are coming out of school and they only use macOS devices.
Yeah, they don't know anything else.
For us, it's important that we manage them also.
Yeah.
Talking about frontline workers, because you're both in the frontline worker area. I think we talked last week on the What's New that we did with the Workplace Ninja Netherlands. There was the managed home screen for Android on the fully managed devices. Was announced.
Yeah, just released. Yeah.
Yeah, and how important is the frontline worker scenario in general? Not only on Android but also on iOS and iPadOS. How important is that for Microsoft and for the management from Intune? Because I see a lot of improvements in that area. How important is that?
I'd say it's really important for hospitals, schools, things like that. We have the shared iPad option for automated device enrollment, and then we have the shared Entra ID mode option as well. I'd say it's very critical for those scenarios where you either have nurses switching an iPad shift to shift, or you have a retail worker working with other workers and using the same device, and we have support for any of those situations.
Yeah. And even another feature compatibility, but we have that for iPad and iOS.
Yep.
But we have also that for Android as well.
Like support for shared devices and being able to switch between shifts. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but we can use a frontline worker scenario on an Android as well. So with the management.
Exactly.
I implemented one, I think it's 3 weeks ago that we implemented a managed home screen on Android, especially on it was ATEX devices for.
Ruggedized devices.
Yeah, the ruggedized, because there was an oil terminal that we are using there, and I think that worked quite good, but. Yeah, we have some challenges. Maybe we can reach out later on.
You know where to find me, and I'll put in a plug for the Frontline session, which is on Thursday at 8 a.m. in the morning. So it's a bit early, but hopefully people can come, and I'll be covering again iOS, iPadOS, as well as a bunch of Android and OSP stuff.
Awesome.
And what will be the main takeaway from that session, from a frontline worker perspective, in that session?
Hopefully, just that Intune is, as Jason said in his keynote today, that Intune is ready for frontline worker scenarios. Yep. I have like a million demos lined up, so I'm just going to be going through all the features that we have that are pertinent to that scenario.
Nice, because I think what you're already telling, nurses in the hospital are using that. But I have a lot of scenarios in, even at schools, where we have a library, for example, where you have a specific application that needs to be used by more people. They don't need to log in because they only need to scan a book, for example. Right. But yeah, and I think if you can manage that sort of devices, also with the single pane of glass that we have for Windows, macOS, and all the other stuff, that makes it really powerful, in my opinion.
So true.
Agreed.
Yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise, I have a lot, but we can't fit that in the recording because we all know what there are features coming up, and we can talk about that.
We can talk about that, yes. So there is new feature that has been presented today by Anya. So there is some coming for macOS. And one that we really like, I guess, is the way to know if your device is not compliant, but without opening the company portal, because users don't like to open company portal except for installing application sometimes. Yeah. So all the Office application will be able to warn you and to share with you why the device is not compliant. We are also working on custom compliance. So custom compliance is a way, instead of using what we decide, for you to decide how your device is compliant. For example, you using Zscaler in the enterprise, you want Zscaler to run, you can have a script that will test it and be able to use it.
And the first feature Marc mentioned will be just-in-time registration and compliance remediation for macOS. So once you land on the home screen and you want to get productive as quickly as possible as the end user, say you open up Teams and you can see in Teams why you are not compliant if you're not and what you need to do to get compliant, as opposed to before where you have to switch between apps to figure out your compliance issues to then access resources. So the experience is just much more seamless, faster, and your end user is productive just much quicker. And we have that on iOS and iPadOS as well. Highly recommend everyone set that up for their iOS, iPadOS devices. We have a blog called Just-in-Time Registration, and all the details are there.
So we need to read some stuff and educate our customers on that.
So definitely, there's so much going on in this space, and it's going so quickly on macOS, Android, and iOS that it's sometimes hard to keep up.
Yeah, we release new stuff every month, I think.
Yeah, we are trying to do every month of what's new in a short recording, but most of the times we are running out of time, and that's because all the new stuff that's coming through.
Yeah.
Maybe one feature that, because we are in Switzerland and a lot of my bank customer and assurance customer asking for this, on macOS we have a recovery partition, and by default the user can go to the recovery partition and erase his Mac. So there is a way to protect this recovery partition, and this is a big feature that is also coming before the end of the year.
Nice. And now, hopefully, you will enjoy the event, enjoy the sessions that you have to deliver or has delivered already. So thanks for joining in this recording. Let's talk a bit offline on other topics as well.
Of course.
And let's see what the future brings. The future is bright, and what I hear, mobile is important. macOS is I think the team did a lot of effort putting into macOS in the past year, but also frontline workers. That's important as well. In the Netherlands, where I came from, we have multiple scenarios that are running into that one. So lots of improvements coming through, and I love to see what's coming. Thanks for that, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Okay, till next time. I say you need to like and subscribe our videos.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, and then you see what's coming through, because today this is the last recording, but tomorrow we will be back with other ones as well. So thanks for
Next
that.
schedule.
Yeah, there will be a lot of things going on tomorrow. So let's dive into and let's see. Thank you.